Good morning, Born to Rise community. My name is Kim Fuller, and I'm the founder of Born to Rise. And we are a community, or even I would say a movement, of women who are ready to step in and feel empowered by their personal story. What is a personal story? Well, we all were raised in varying ways. And, all of the things that we were influenced by, the people who came into our lives, where we lived, all of those things form our thoughts, which lead to emotions, which lead to actions. All of that is meaning making. So let's say there's an experience that happens in your life. You take it in. It means something to you. But what you make it mean is what becomes your story. And if you have siblings, you may have spoken with them about how you've all experienced the same thing, for example, but you took away something very different than your siblings, or they took something different away from that experience than you did. And so our story becomes our own, very personal. And a lot of that just comes from who we are to begin with. And how we take things in. But oftentimes, that story can not be helpful, if you will. It can be something that keeps you feeling a little stuck. It might be a belief. It might be an emotion that is, bringing on anger or frustration or anxiety. And what we do when we uncover those stories is we simply recognize that that's what they are. There's something that happened in our lives that we made mean something. It may or may not be true. And that's not to say the experience didn't affect you or have meaning for you. But it's this idea that we have the power in us, our minds have the power, and we have the ability as physical beings to transform that story when we recognize the story. Basically, our internal narrative, right, is our story. The things that we say to ourselves about that experience. Or even the conditioning as a whole. It might not just be like one experience. It could be things that have compounded over the years. Ways that we've taken things on. So when we transform that and see that our minds have the ability to shift and see things in a new perspective, we're able to take that story in a new direction. We can take what we've experienced. We can see that we've learned something from it if we allow ourselves and do the work. And we expand. We expand and expand and expand when we take the time to go inward and really look at our lives. The whole book, every chapter, right? And that empowers us and frees us in a lot of ways, because we can start to see that our minds and the way we think and the way we put our energy after those thoughts and our actions make our life the way it is. So if we stay in anger and we keep putting that energy out there, that's what our life's going to feel like, an angry life. If we're overwhelmed and we keep feeling and thinking in an overwhelmed kind of way, we're always going to feel that way. But there are tools and there are ways to shift those stories and the ways that we work with them. I have created a program called the Soul Pilot Circle, and it's for a community of women who want to go inward, who want to really deeply dive into their personal narrative or story and really look at ways to shift and transform and set new intentions, new motivations, and literally manifest a life that is a new story and a new belief about who you are and who you can be. So if we look at ourselves as these soul beings, we have this soul, you can call it God, you can call it spirit, you can call it whatever you want to call it, goddess. That intersects with life, right? This beingness on this planet, in this physical body. The soul and this physical body. At that intersecting point, there's so much expansion. I believe we've chosen to come down here as physical beings so that we can be challenged, we can be faced with things that make us examine and look at and grow from. Because we want to expand. We know there's more. As beings, there's always more, and we're looking for it. So this soul, this spirit side of us wants to expand. But the physical body can often say, no, we want to stay right here. This is where it's comfortable. But there's something in us that knows that we want to expand. We know that there's more. We know that there's freedom. There's love. We've felt it at times. We've felt those places of joy and abundance and freedom. But it's fleeting sometimes. But in the Soul Pilots community, I want to help you learn how to have those feelings and be in that place on a more regular basis. My practice is coming from Buddhist studies, from my own practice, a lot of meditating, calming the mind enough so that I can be aware of what's going on up there, how that narrative is formed every day based on old and new. And no blame, right? This is all me. This is the work that I need to do. But imagine if more of us are doing it, how beautiful the world will be when we can have this sense of freedom and operate from a place of love, operate from that soul being spiritual place that wants to always be expanding, that knows that we expand when we look inward and operate from the heart. And how do we do that? That's what we're gonna talk about in the Soul Pilot Circle. So if you're interested in something like this and you'd really like to work on expanding and being in this place of curiosity and possibility for your life, a life of freedom, a life that operates from a place of love and not anger or frustration or all up in the head, then please join us, because we're gonna cut the bullshit. We're gonna talk about these things, talk about these real issues in our life, things that we know. We're going to build on our intuition and really start to learn to trust what we know, what our spirit knows, what our soul desires and knows, so that on this physical plane that we live in daily, we can expand and not feel constricted and tight. So if this sounds like a community that you'd like to be involved with, please join me. We're starting January 19th, and we'll be meeting once a week on Zoom for 2 hours to really deep dive into these kinds of conversations, to meditate, to write, to process, to journal, to transform. And we're going to have one live retreat, full day where we can get together and really work on this stuff together in person. As long as it's safe, of course. And if not, we'll do it on Zoom. But hopefully we'll be able to find a time where we can all get together live. So please join me at borntorise.live. And it's called the Soul Pilots Circle. And this is an intimate group, so no more than 10 women. And we will have, like I said, online meetings and time to really talk about all of these things so that you can have a life that you have created for yourself, a life that is yours, that is free, that is full. Because I believe that most of the women that are going to be attracted to this are women who are doing some good work in the world, but have all this outside distractions, life things happening, and it's causing a lot of overwhelm, stress, anxiety, exhaustion. And I want to help you release that so you can continue to do all the work that you're doing in the world. So again, my name's Kim Fuller, and you can find out more at borntorise.live at the Soul Pilots Circle. See you there. We begin January 19th, so don't delay. Bye-bye.